This is one of those lessons that if you have been to one of my retreats, I've probably taught at least a portion of it. This is one of those lessons that shows up in a lot of my teachings because this is the basis. This is the foundation. This is the core of so much of how we get through life without feeling like we're buried by so much. This is so much the core of my teachings. Okay, here's the big thing that I wanted to tell you that I know that you're going to know deep in your heart. So I'm actually just reminding you. And that is that you are actually, all of us are actually souls having a human experience in a human body, in this human world that's so unpredictable and so full of trials and tests and really hard classes and things that we never would have signed up to learn. We have to become experts at. But you are a soul. That's who you are. You are a soul who is learning and growing and becoming. And then you're in a human body. So that's actually already two things that you've got to learn. But then we often put two more layers on. We put on a layer of who we think we are when we feel broken or other people have told us that we're broken, when we feel like we've made so many mistakes that we're tainted and stained and messed up and damaged. And when things happen that are out of our control, we feel like we get beat up in ways that we can't fix. When things don't happen that we really wish would have happened, we feel like we get, little pieces of us get torn apart, holes get blown through us, all sorts of things. When other people do things to us, it feels like we've just been vandalized and damaged and cut apart. And so we're this soul, and then we're this human, and then often we put on another layer of what we actually think we are. We think we're our wounds, and we're not. Those are experiences that we get to have to teach our human self so that our soul can grow. Now there's a fourth layer, and that's our beautiful, perfect cardboard cutout of who we want the world to see us as the person that we think we need to be so that we can be accepted and so that we can be safe and so that we can be right. And so we're going to talk about these 4 layers of who we actually are and how heavy it is when we stick to the ones that are actually rooted in fear. And what I really want for you is to be able to drop the 2 that are rooted in fear and to be able to focus on the ones that are rooted in truth, that are rooted in who you actually are. Because when you drop the weight of the other 2, you're going to be out from under so much that you're practically going to have wings and you're going to fly. And you're going to be able to get through all these challenges of life because you're going to see them for what they are. They're classes to help you grow and learn and become, and they're experiences and opportunities to help you help others so that we can connect and so we can really learn from each other and have beautiful relationships. And they are opportunities for us to see how magnificent we are. When we make it through things that we never would have signed up to make it through, we emerge on the other side as warriors. All right, so we're going to get started on this lesson, and what I need you to do is make sure that you are either looking at the PDF on a computer screen. Preferably, I would love to have you have those printed out. If you don't have a printer, you can just use a journal and you can answer the questions that I'll be reading to you and showing you, and you can also see them on your screen if you're just looking at your PDF on your screen. But you do need your PDF for this part. And we are going to be going to pages 4 and 5, and they look like this. I'm going to talk about the cardboard cutout. So look at this first image, the life-size cardboard cutout of my perfect self. This is what is heavy. This is probably the heaviest thing that you are underneath right now. When we can get rid of this, when we can find the courage to get rid of it, the first thing we have to do is realize that it's even part of us, that we're even carrying it around, that we're even underneath it. The awareness is what is such a powerful realization and a powerful tool for change, is when we realize, oh my goodness, I am doing this. And so before I start talking about this, I want you to promise yourself that you're not going to feel fear, or you're not going to feel fear or shame about this, that when you realize that you might just be doing this, because this is absolutely positively a human condition. And it's usually we carry around this giant cardboard cutout of what we want to perceive as our perfect selves, because we had to learn from an early age to protect ourselves. And so it was something that your brilliant mind and your brilliant heart did to protect you. And so it's really amazing. It's actually kind of a miracle what our minds and our bodies can do to try to protect us. So that's what's going on with that. You made this, and now that you are going to have awareness, you can decide you're not going to do it anymore. The first one, my life-size cardboard cutout of my perfect self. This is the facade that we create and we hide behind. Sometimes it's our walls. Sometimes it's the way that we want people to see us, and we all do it. What happens is we cannot connect with people because who we actually are is behind that facade. Now, often we think that's the only one we have, but we actually have that because of this one. This is another cardboard cutout that we carry around, and this is both of these are rooted in fear, and I would even say that these are rooted in untruth. They're rooted in lies, because we are good, we are beautiful and wonderful and perfect. Just look over at the next page, who your soul actually is. We'll talk about that in a minute. But when we start believing that we are anything but good and valuable and lovable and perfect, we don't make perfect choices, but how we are right now is good. We are good. We are made of goodness. So when we make decisions rooted from the lies that we think that we are not good, so what I believe about myself and life when I hide. So we hide ourselves because we hide ourselves with this bedazzled cardboard cutout, or however we make it. Sometimes we make us look really tough and impenetrable, and there's all sorts of ways that we create these cardboard cutouts to keep ourselves protected. We do it because we're afraid that either ourselves or others are going to see that we're not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions, and what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to play some music, and I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to wait just a little bit. And then when I tell you to open your eyes, I want you to write down the first thing that you thought of when I asked you that question, okay? So again, we're really going to go in and explore, like, why do I hide behind this cardboard cutout? And then once you know that, you're going to be able to let that go. And then you're going to say, what do I think is behind the cardboard cutout? What is this wounded, damaged, imperfect person that I'm trying to hide? And then once we know about that, then you can let that go. And then we're going to move on to the ones that are rooted in truth, okay? So close your eyes, and I'm going to play some music. So while you have your eyes closed, I want you to listen to me for a moment about this cardboard cutout, about both of these. The blinged out one that we want people to see us as, and then the one underneath it that's our wounds and our fears and our anger, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. But I want you to really think about this and really listen to me, okay, my friend? Just really listen to me, what I'm saying to you right now. What I'm saying to you is true. You are not either of these things. You are not the cardboard cutout that you have blinged out, and you're not the cardboard cutout that is damaged and wounded underneath it. You know that, right? If I were sitting with you right now, I would sit for as long as it takes to get you to get this and have mercy and grace for yourself. So while you have your eyes closed right now, I really want you to think about the truth of who you actually are. You are not this, no matter what broken people have told you. You are not this, no matter what mistakes and decisions you've made in your life that might make you think that you're either of these things. You are not this, no matter what other people have done to you, no matter what circumstances that were completely out of your control happened in your life or didn't happen in your life, no matter what things that you prayed for that didn't happen. No matter what, you are not this, okay? So, like I said, if I were with you right now, I would sit with you for as long as it takes to get you to get this and have mercy and grace for yourself. Because believing that you are this comes because you have some kind of belief that you are this. So we have to go to both of these levels. We talked about being under all of these heavy things that make us feel weary, but what we really are under is this cardboard cutout made of lead. These are the ones that are rooted in fear. So let's go through these questions. I want you to close your eyes while I ask you these questions. So let's go through these questions. Now that you have your eyes closed, I'm going to ask you these questions. I'm going to give you a minute, like I said, to write down the first answer. And I want you to do, I'm not going to give you very much time because I want you to write down the first answer that pops into your head. Okay? So set yourself up for this. The way that I want you to think of this is I want you to think of the answers and how that you would come up with and how you feel when you're feeling like you're not right, or you're not enough, or you're too much, or you're too different, or you're too weird, or you're too awkward, or you're too scared, or wounded, or hurting, or angry, or exhausted. And then think about feeling that way, but then you have to show up somewhere where you have to behave properly, where you feel like you have to fit in, or you have to behave as if everything's going great in your life, even though there's a whole lot of stuff that's not. Or maybe you have to behave in the way that will bring the least amount of hassle and stress and drama into your life. Or maybe you have to show up and look and behave the way that will bring the least amount of questions from others, because you just cannot deal with any more questions. And definitely you're showing up there doing what it takes to have the least amount of judgment toward you. So that's where I want you to be. I want you to be thinking about what that feels like. The armor, the cardboard cutout that you have to put up when you have to show up in the world where you don't feel safe that way, where you're not right, you're not enough, or you're too much, or you're too different, or you're too weird, or awkward, or scared, or wounded, or hurting, or angry, or exhausted, or you don't have the same beliefs, whatever it is, okay? So that's where we're at. So the first question is, what am I under? I want you to just think about that for a minute. And now open your eyes and write down the first answer that came to your mind. What am I under? Just write it right under that question on page 4. All right, the next, go ahead and close your eyes again. I spend a lot of time trying to be. Now I want you to just keep your eyes closed and think for a minute about how much time and resources you spend trying to be something that will help you fit in. I spend a lot of time trying to be. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes and write that down. All right, close your eyes again. I spend a lot of time trying to look. Keep your eyes closed and just think about it. How are you trying to look? Are you trying to look put together? Are you trying to look happy? Are you trying to look like you are okay? Are you trying to look like you're confident? I mean, how are you trying to look? It's just making you so weary to have to try to look that way. Okay, open your eyes and write down your answer. Okay, close your eyes again. I spend a lot of time polishing my. Now I want you to think about what you're polishing. Is it your? And that is just a figurative question. What are you constantly trying to make look better? Is it your business? Is it your family? Is it your body? Is it your confidence? Whatever it is, what you spend a lot of time making sure it looks perfect so that everybody sees what a good job you're doing, because you're so afraid if they knew you were not doing a great job that you wouldn't be able to fit in. So go ahead and open your eyes and write down the answer. Okay, now close your eyes again. I spend a lot of time numbing my. Okay, so is it pain? Is it anxiety? Is it addiction? Is it anger? Is it jealousy? Is it fear? Don't feel shame. We all have these things. But when we know what we're trying to numb, we can figure out what we need to do so that we can drop this cardboard cutout. So think about, I spend a lot of time trying to numb my, and then open your eyes and write down your answer. All right, go ahead and close your eyes. The next question is, what is under that? What is under that? So just right underneath that question, I know there's not a line there, but right underneath that question, open your eyes and write down what you think is under your cardboard cutout. Now, if I were to answer this question, I would just say a human mess. A beautiful mess. That's what's under my cardboard cutout. Exactly as it should be. A beautiful mess. But what is it for you? What is under that? Okay, go ahead and write that down and then close your eyes. Now, when you are covering yourself up because you don't feel safe showing up exactly as you are, you don't feel like you want people to see that you're not right or not enough or too much or too different or too weird, what are you afraid of others seeing? So the next question is, I am afraid of others seeing my... What's the first thing that pops into your head? Open your eyes and write down your answer. And now close your eyes. I am afraid to look at my... Now, we didn't talk about this before, but often we put up a cardboard cutout because we are afraid to look at what's behind it. We're afraid to look at our pain. We're afraid to look at our anger. We're afraid to look at our memories. So what's the first thing that popped into your head when I said, I am afraid to look at my... And go ahead and open your eyes and write it down. All right, close your eyes. I am afraid of admitting my... So what is it for you? Your limitations, your age, your real dreams, your anger, your jealousy, your resentment, your weaknesses, your magnificence. I mean, a lot of us hide our awesomeness because we're afraid of it being seen because we've been hurt before. So whatever it is, whatever you thought of, go ahead and open your eyes and write down, I am afraid of admitting my... All right, close your eyes again. I am afraid that I will never be... What is it for you? I'm afraid that I will never be okay, that I will never be healed, that I will never be a size 0. Whatever it is for you, that I will never be financially secure. Whatever it is, whatever is your big secret shame or your big fear, whatever it is that you feel like you're hiding, that you wish you could actually talk about and show up as that person, or at least you wish you didn't have to walk around hiding all the time. I am afraid that I will never be... Okay, open your eyes and write down your answer. Okay, you did great. I want you to look at me again, look in my eyes. Friend, you are not that cardboard cutout of the blinged out perfect self, and you are not the messy, wounded, broken one that you're trying to hide. What you are is what we're going to talk about next. But I hope that you can see that being underneath those beliefs that we actually carry around like a big old sheet of lead, it is largely what makes us feel weary. We think that we can't feel the way we feel. And I talked a lot about the state of the world and that we're probably in a time in history where things aren't going to go back to how they used to be. And so we have to get stronger. We have to accept that. When we take with us all these beliefs that we should feel different than we feel, or we should be different than we are, or we can't simplify our lives, or we won't fit in, or if we decide that the whole narrative, the whole way that we're taught that we're supposed to be doesn't make sense for us, but we're still trying to pretend like we fit in with that, that is a heavy, heavy burden to bear. It's a heavy enough burden to bear already to just survive in this world and to be able to find joy and to be able to feel and to be able to help each other and to be able to show up in authenticity as exactly who we are. So let's decide that we're not going to add to that weight by carrying around a cardboard cutout.